Good evening once again to all you wonderful people on social media. This is your realtor and investor Lester Witherspoon coming to you once again with our program Lester Real Estate and Investment Time. We're also always glad to have you on our program. Thank you for taking time off your busy schedule to be a part of our program. We really highly appreciate it. So thanks ever so much. We know that we all go through a lot, but we always appreciate when we can have you on board. Whether you're watching the live or watching the replay, we also still glad to have you. So welcome. And if you know anybody who's thinking about buying or selling, please share the program with them. And then if you want to let me know, just send me the number and I will get in contact with them or give my number to them. And definitely I will, let them reach out to me and I'll be glad to sit and talk with them in more details. Definitely. So welcome. I hope today you learned something from our program for today. So, but for today, our topic for today is all about contingency, the contingency clause in a purchase agreement, the contingency clause in the purchase contract, the contingency clause in a real estate purchase contract. What is the role of the contingency clause? What does it do? What is it there for? Why do they include contingencies in there? So that's what we're talking about today. In the past clips, I talked about them, just in passing. But today I decided to focus on contingency. So today, this clip is all about contingencies that make up part of the purchase agreement, the purchase contract, that the contingencies. Now, let's back up a little bit first. Now, when you make up your mind to purchase a property, when you decide to move forward and purchase a property, and get into a contract, what you do is first you get with your lender to see how much you qualify for. And then once you are gotten with your lender to see how much you qualify for, then you get your realtor, and then you work with a realtor. The realtor will take you out to look at properties, and then after looking at properties, you decide which one you want. The realtor will make an offer on your behalf of whatever property that you like. So normally he'll do a search of an area, and then he will send it to you, and then you select the ones you want to see, and then he will take you to see the ones that you want to see. And then based on that, he make an offer on the one that you like. So after he submit the offer to the listing agent, then he try to start negotiating to see that, to ensure that your offer get accepted. And that can take some time. That can be immediate based on your offer, or or sometimes that can take some time negotiating back and forth. You see, because when you submit an offer, sometimes you get counter offer. And when you get a counter offer, you can counter too. And then they can counter back. So all those things can take some time too. But if it's straightforward, there's no counter anything, you get a ratified contract just like that. You see? So he submits your offer and then start negotiating for a ratified contract. All right. So once the seller agrees to the terms that are in the offer, he signs the offer, making it a ratified contract. Once both parties sign that offer becomes a contract, a binding contract. All right. But in that document, especially when it's in a buyer's market, in that purchase contract agreement, most times you will find contingencies. Buyer includes contingencies when they're submitting the purchase, the order, the offer. They include contingencies. All right. Now, what is the role of, why include contingencies? Now, contingencies are placed for two reasons. The first reason, because the contingency, it defines the condition or the action that need to be met in order for the contract to become a binding contract. So the contingency, it defines the condition or the action that need to be met, that both parties need to meet in order for the contract to become a binding contract. So the first role of the contingency So that's why buyers always try to put contingencies in when they're submitting an offer, in an offer. You see? Okay. The second role that the contingency play is that contingency also, it serves as a way out of the contract. So when you sign that contract, you can't just say, "Oh, I changed my mind." It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. You can't get up tomorrow and say, "Oh, I don't think I want to move forward." That seller will come after your earnest money deposit. He will come after that earnest money deposit. So helping God, and sometimes they go for even more based on how things go. But when after you have submitted that offer and you got your contingencies in there, those are steps or ways you can get out of the contract without being penalized. Because if the seller does not meet these conditions, you have all right to walk out of that contract. Yeah, you have all right to walk out of that contract. If the seller does not meet the conditions, you can walk out. Tell say, okay, because of X, Y, and Z reason, because you didn't meet this or that, you can leave the contract. Now, you can do that. You can do that, and you will not be held liable for anything. You can do that. But if you just get up one day and just change your mind and say, "I won't be," you will be held liable, and the seller will come after you. Definitely, I can guarantee you that he will come. Now, other things. So sometimes, once in a while, you see sellers say, "Okay, let the man go. Don't bother him. Let him go." But most times, some sellers, they will say, "I want that earnest money deposit." They will come after it. You see? So don't put yourself in a place where sellers coming after you. You try to do your homework. You try to make sure you got everything in place. All your I's dotted and all your T's crossed, and make sure that you got everything on track. All right. So these are the two conditions that the role that the contingency play. One is to tell you exactly what action they be taking. And two, if you don't meet this action or meet these conditions, the second role is to away out of the contract. Yeah. So contingency is your escape route out of the contract. You can get out by that way. But again, you got to negotiate, you got to talk about it, or you can just jump and leave. You got to notify the seller and all that, and then agree to it, and then leave the contract. That's how it goes. All right. So, but in that offer, normally there are three major contingencies that buyers include in that contract. Now, sellers don't like any offer with plenty contingencies. I'll be straight up with you. Buyers, if you want for seller to accept your offer, especially in the seller's market, you better don't put any contingency there, But always, even though it's a seller's market, and I tell you it, but it's good to also still include the inspection contingency, so at least you can know what you're getting into. But we'll come to that later on anyway. All right. So there are three major contingencies. The first one of the contingencies is the appraisal contingency. The appraisal contingency. That's the first contingency. Now, what is the appraisal contingency? Now, normally when you go to purchase a property, you normally, only investors who got money buy property straight up. Most people who want to buy property, they have to go get loan from the bank or from a lender. Yep. And when you get that loan from the bank or the lender, the bank or the lender wants to know that the property that you're buying, they want to make sure that that sales price that you agree upon is worth that property. So the lender will get an independent appraiser to go to that property to do an assessment of the property, to see whether the property value is worth that price. You see? So it's the lender that sent in the appraiser, the independent appraiser. The lender sends in the appraiser to verify and make sure what is the value of that property. Now, when the appraiser goes and he does his assessment, three things can happen. One, he can go in and say, okay, the appraiser, the value of the property is what the price is good for this property. That means whatever price it is, 300,000 or 400,000, yes, the property is worth 300,000. So that you see. Good. Once he says that, you can move forward. Or he could say, the property is being sold for 400,000. But according to my assessment, this property is worth 425,000. Woo, that's good news for the seller, for the buyer. Good news for the buyer. Because you're buying that property with equity in it. That means buying it with profit in it already. You buying it at 400 and the property is 425, you already got interest in the property already. So that's good news for buyers. Jump up and be glad. Let's move on. But if that appraiser go and he does his assessment and he come back and say, this property is being sold for 400,000. But according to my own assessment, this property is worth 375,000. It's not 400,000. You all got to get back on the drawing board. Seller got to make got a decision to make. He either got to adjust that property to $375,000 based on the assessment of the appraiser, or so you can move forward the contract, or you can change your mind and say, nope, I don't want to sell my property again. We can step out. You see? But the assessment is very important, so you can know what the actual value of the property is. So when you purchase your property and you take that loan, the lender will send in an appraiser, and he will let you know. He will let you know, yes, it's worth the price, or it's above the price, or it's below the price. And if it's equal to the price or above the price, no problem, you can move forward to closing. If it's below the price, there must be an adjustment before you can move forward. Because the bank will not give a penny more than what the appraiser have appraised the property for. The bank will not give a penny more. They will only close for the amount that the appraiser have assessed the property for. So then the seller have a choice to make, as I said. He either got to adjust the price based on the appraiser, or he can change your mind and say, no, I don't want to sell my property again. You see? So that's how you can get all the contract. Because Mr. Buyer, you go to the seller, once you get that notice, you say, look, you tell him, look, we have received the report from the appraiser, and based on the report, the property, the assessment is below the property, the sales price. So therefore, we need some reduction to be made. You know, and then once you can negotiate it, then you can move forward with that. You see? So that's one way out. Or if he refuses to bring it down and he other man and say, no, I want, buyer can just walk out and say, no, since you don't want to bring the property down, the price down to based on the appraiser, and I'm moving forward. You have a ground not to move forward. Yeah. Now that's a ground you have right there. You see? Because in order to get out of the contract, you have to have a ground, a valid reason why you don't want to move forward. Yeah. You can have a bad night or restless night, get a desperate say, no, I changed my mind. It doesn't work that way. So there's a key ground to withdraw from the contract. And say, thank you, I'm out. I'm not in it again. That's one way. Okay. Now the second contingency that people always include in the contract is the financing contingency. You see, as I said, when you purchase the property, you need to go get a loan. Now, when you go get a loan, you got to submit certain documents to the lender. You got to verify how much you made, how much you got, or you got to do all that. You got to go through all that with the lender and make sure. And as I said in the previous recording, the worst person to lie to is your lender. Because what you tell him, they will double check it. They not just take into your word. They will double check to verify whatever information you have given them. So he will take all that information and you pass it on to what? Underwriting. And the underwriter will verify, say yes, all we have said is correct. We good to go, can move forward. You are clear to close, or no, we have some issues with the information you are giving us, with the documents and what have you, and we need it to be ratified. We need it to be verified, or we need to submit different documents, or we cannot move forward. So always be earnest, straightforward, and sincere with your lender. If there's an issue, discuss it with your lender, so at least you can be on the same page Because the lender can help you. So the lender got some programs that can help you to get out of situations. You see? But you need to let the lender know. You see? So once you let the lender know, the lender can work with things based on certain programs and move forward. Especially your first time home buyer and you didn't have enough money, they have some program that can help you, to move forward. You see? So, but you're good to be straight up. You can tell the lender, say, oh, I got 25,000 in my account. You only got 5,000 in your account. You're not going you're not moving forward because when they verify and they see is that correct, you're not moving. So it's good to be straight up with your lender. Then you say, look, this is how much I have. Do you have any program to help with closing costs or with down payment and assistance? And some programs are there. And then he can work with you to see how best he can fit it in to make sure that all goes well. So always good to be straight up and earnest and sincere with your lender. And he will be able to get you out of whatever situation you find yourself in. All right. So that is the first contingency. The second contingency, the financing contingency, the second one. Be straight up, be sincere with your lender, and he will save your day. I'm telling you, your lender can save your day. We have to be sincere with them. So that's for the financing. Because if it's not approved, you cannot close. You will not close. You all will not close. You got to make sure that everything is approved, everything is in place, everything is correct, and then you can move forward to closing. When you go into the process, the thing you want to hear is CTC, clear to close. When you get that communication, say, oh, you are CTC, oh, buyer, you can jump up because you know you're ready to close that deal. You're ready to move forward. Definitely. All right. The third and last major contingency that we want to talk about here today is the home inspection. The home inspection. That is another way out. These are conditions that need to be met in order for you to go to closing. Now, when you are purchasing your property, especially in the seller's market, most time people tend to waive the home inspection. Because as I said, sellers don't like too many home inspection. And just to make sure, especially when a buyer really like that property, they do everything to make sure they get that property. Some of them will waive the appraiser. They will say, look, if the property is even above the price, I will pay the difference. That's some people do. That's how far some people go. That even if the property is above, the price is above what it says, I mean below, if it's below, they will bring it up to the value. They bring up to the value. If it's below, yeah. So they go that far. Right. So with the inspection contingency, the buyer goes to check the property for any faults that are on the property, any major defects that are on the property, to bring it to the buyer's attention. So the home inspector goes in and he's there to check around to make sure everything is in place. He's checking, looking at the roof, he's looking at the wall, he's looking at in the bathroom, he's looking everywhere in the kitchen. He's looking to make sure everything functioning normal. That's what the home inspector is there for. To make sure that if any major defects, and there is a minor defect, they bring it to your attention. All right, this is what wrong, this is what that, and he will let you know. So you can be able to make an informed decision as to whether to move forward with that ratified contract or whether to step back. Then say, no, thanks but no thanks. I don't want that property again. You see? So if even you are in a seller's market and you decide to waive the inspection contingency, I always encourage my buyers, still do the inspection for informational purposes only. I always encourage my buyer, do the inspection still. You can still do the inspection, even though you have waived it, because normally when you do inspection, you do it so if they can repair any defects. That's what the home inspection is about. You see? So you do it now, that if any major defects, the seller need to repair it, or you can walk away if he doesn't want to repair it. You can, that's a way to get out of the contract. You see? But if you waive it, then you cannot hold the seller against anything. You can still do it for any to know, yes, I see X, Y, and Z. I will still take it. I see there's some faults. I will still take it and move forward. Or another way people can get out is through, if it's a town home, you can use the homeowner association doc, as a means of getting out of the contract too. Yeah. But you got to be fast. You got to know that's another way to get out through the home owner association. You can use the home association doc and get out of that contract too. You know. So normally, when people waive inspection, waive all that, the back turn depending on is the issue a doc as a means of getting out. You see? So that's generally the strategy, you know, we use to save our clients to make sure all goes well. So, but we go in good faith. Nobody want to get in a contract or to get out of the contract. No. You see what happened? When you enter in a property, because I have taken a client to see a property before, that property looks so beautiful. Not until the home inspector came and started pointing out all the defects, and we're like, oh my God. My client couldn't believe it. We didn't buy that property. We had to buy another property. We didn't buy it. We didn't buy a property. Because there were a whole lot of things that were wrong with that property. The whole roof, there was a serious problem with the roof. They repaired it, but the way how they repaired it was not proper. They didn't properly repair the roof. You know, and the roof could collapse because they didn't put enough timbers in there to prop it up, to hold it up in case there was any heavy rain or any storm. It could just get off, you know. And we didn't know. But the home inspector was to identify it and bring it to our attention. Yeah. When the whole side of the roof, they didn't put, pull some of the plastic there. They didn't put know-how, drywall, nothing like that. And we didn't know. My client was so happy when he saw just the interior part. You see? So the home inspector will go in and identify all these little things. He will there to see, make sure that the stove working well, make sure that everything in the kitchen properly functioning well. Go to see how old is the heating system, how old is the water system. You see, because these things all have lifespan. They have lifespan. You don't want to buy a house $400,000 just to move in and the heating system break down, or the water system break down. No, because the lifespan has expired. So the home inspector go there and say, look, this system here is about to expire. The lifespan is about to, so let the man replace it or do something about it. Yeah. Apparently when it comes to the hot water heater, most times people got to replace it when it comes to when I sell at home because all the lifespan is almost over. You see? But when you go in the house, you see it looking so beautiful, you don't know. You just look, the house is so fine, so beautiful. But let the inspector come do his work first. Then you know all the little small details that are wrong with that particular property. Sometimes too, if inspector does his work, you didn't have nothing major because what some sellers do, they do their own inspection. Yeah. A seller who really want the house to go fast, they will invite an inspector to come and do a pre-sale inspection to see any fault so they can fix it before they put it on the market. So by the time you come, they finish doing all that thing already. There was a seller, some few, but not many. Few sellers, they do that. They make sure that they do a pre-inspection and fix all the faults that are on the property. So when you come now, you walk in, and sometimes they show you, say, we already done the inspection, this is all repaired, they show you up front. You see? If you want to still do an inspection, well, up to you. You know? But in my 16 years as a realtor, I think I came across 3 different times that a seller had already done a pre-inspection. I think only 3 different occasions in all my 16 years as a realtor. Only 3 times. Most sellers will sit down, wait until the inspection report come, then they work on what mean based on the report. But those who want to go fast, they will do their pre-inspection, make sure they fix everything under control, plus make sure everything is in place. And make sure as soon as they come, they know that we're ready to roll. No hindrances. Yeah, fast. You see? So these are the 3 major contingencies that are included in a purchase contract. And you can use that especially when it's a buyer's market because buyers are in control and they're dictating the pace. But when it comes to a seller's market, don't try to include all that because seller will be throwing them in the garbage can and looking for the contract that does not have any contingency or that may have only one contingency and that have the highest and best offer. Yes, that's what seller look for in a seller's market. So you got to know which market you're in when you're trying to put your contingencies in your purchase contract. You got to make sure. So if it's a seller market, don't put too much contingency there because your offer will not be accepted. Because many people will willing to waive it just to get that property. So these are my little pointers for you for the day on contingencies and the importance of the role they play and what I did. So I hope you learned something today from this presentation. I hope you learned something. And if you are trying to get in the market and you do not have a realtor, feel free to call me. My number is 302-310-0621. Again, my cell phone number is 302-310-0621. And my office direct number is 667-290-5051. Again, my office direct number is 667-290-5051. You can call me on either of these numbers and you will definitely get me. So I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to working with you. I'll be glad to sit down with you and go into more details with the home buying process, what ought to look out for so you can be able to make an informed decision as you decide to move forward with the home buying process. So again, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. If you know anybody who want to buy or sell, please refer them to me. I'll be glad to work with them. If they don't have a realtor, I'll be glad to sit and talk with them also. So thanks again for taking time for your busy schedule. Always good to have you. So until next week, every week I'm here with you. Every week. We still enjoy the rest of the day. Have a wonderful week, and we will definitely keep you posted with what happened in the market. We'll always keep you updated with what's happening. We'll try to always give you some tips as to how to move forward with the home buying process as a buyer and as a seller. We try to be both on both sides. We try to be, try to balance it. We talk about buyers, we talk about sellers also. So enjoy the rest of the day. This is your realtor and investor saying bye for now, and I will definitely keep you updated and keep you informed. Take care.